On the 28th of September 2024, I set off with my best mate Steve to deliver a convoy of medical vehicles and aid to Ukraine. 4 vehicles, 9 volunteers, loads of equipment and medical supplies, 1,300 miles of open road, all organised by the amazing Driving Ukraine, and funded by you guys. Yeah, seriously folks, without your donations and contributions, we couldn't have done this. You really did help make all this possible. Driving Ukraine have been sending out medical evacuation vehicles to Ukraine since 2022. We were the 32nd convoy, and in total they've sent over 130 vehicles so far. These pickups and vans are used as ambulances and emergency evacuation for civilians and casualties at the front. So the first part of the journey is what we considered the easy bit, just driving from Oxford to Dover where we were going to take the ferry. But one amazing thing happened at the ferry terminal which really surprised me and moved me. We were sat there in the queue waiting to board the ferry. It wasn't time yet. And this guy came walking across the car park, some lorry driver. He'd seen the signs on the side of our pickup, and I wound the window down and he asked us if we were going to Ukraine. And when I said yes, his face absolutely lit up. And he opened his wallet and gave us 200 Polish zloty, which is about 40 quid. And he said, he was Ukrainian. He said, go and buy yourselves a meal when you get to Poland, on me. It was just over the moon that the people were willing to help Ukraine and go into the effort to go over there and help out. And that was a really moving thing. It obviously meant a lot to this guy to see people helping his country out. So if that guy is watching that video, then cheers. It bought the entire convoy a round of drinks and a bit more when we got to Poland. Driving through Europe turned out to be way simpler than I thought. I was worried about driving on the other side of the road because I'm not particularly used to that. But it was dead easy. And we flew through France, Belgium and the Netherlands barely without even realising we'd crossed any borders. It was just that simple. Day 1, we ended up in Dortmund, Germany, got a good night's rest and then headed out to head for Poland on day 2. That was nearly 1,000 kilometres of driving. But again, on the roads, we had good weather, easy driving, and it was a piece of cake. And then day 3 was going to be the big day. That's when we went from Katowice in Poland, crossed the border to Lviv in Ukraine. So a few hours driving, we arrived at the border. There was a lot of paperwork to do with the vehicles, but fortunately Driving Ukraine had organised all that. It was so simple, really, just a bit of waiting for things to get stamped and checked over. And we were into Ukraine itself. Now, this is where we felt right at home, because at this point, it absolutely started pouring down. And also, some sections of the roads were like driving over the surface of the moon. Not many, to be fair. There was just about a 5-mile section on the road from where we crossed the border to Lviv. But, I mean, these were like really deep potholes. And I don't think it was anything to do with like damage, not bomb damage or anything like that. It was just wear and tear on the roads. Fortunately, that wasn't the case for the majority of the journey there. But it did provide a bit of fun times as we tried to dodge around these potholes and watching other road users trying to do the same. Anyway, we managed to arrive in Lviv that evening. It was pretty hectic, rush hour traffic. And this is where I learned that in Ukraine, the highway code is more like a set of suggestions rather than any solid rules. As going around the city, everyone just muscled in and pushed in at any point. And it was definitely a case of biggest vehicle has the right of way, which generally favoured us in pickups and vans, of course. But I've got to say, the drivers there, they weren't angry like they would be on our roads if people pushed in front of them. It was just the way it worked. So whilst they tried to push in front of us, when we pushed in front of them, they didn't get angry, they just accepted it. And that's kind of how the traffic flowed around the city. Anyway, by Monday night, it was mission accomplished. We'd delivered all the vehicles, all the gear to the workshop in Lviv. Those guys were pleased to see us, and they immediately got to work modifying the vehicles, ready to hand out to the units where they'd be needed on the front line for evacuating casualties. So we spent a night in Lviv, fortunately without incident, no air raids or issues or alarms going off. There had been. We have the Air Alert app on the phone. It had been going mad in the days leading up to our trip, but fortunately, for the 24 hours we were there, it was peaceful and quiet, and everything seemed fine. And we got to see a little bit of Lviv the next day, which looks like a really cool city, and quite like the classical Eastern European style, like I've seen in Prague before. I thought it was pretty nice, and it would be a great place to visit once everything is back to normal, hopefully someday in the future, and not too far in the future. Now, there's one place our Ukrainian friends took us to that I feel a little bit awkward talking about. It was the military cemetery in Lviv. Now, we went there, we were taken there, they wanted to show it to us. I felt like I was almost being like a tourist at this, and I didn't feel like I had a right to be there, but they wanted us to show it. They wanted us to tell the story and tell you guys just what's going on and the sacrifices that their friends and family and countrymen are making. And they also really wanted to express, and they couldn't push this point enough, how grateful and appreciative they are for the equipment and vehicles that we bring across. They reminded us that every vehicle we take across means that one of their friends or family or loved ones or whatever doesn't end up in that military cemetery. The vehicles we take save lives. And they wanted to press that point and just say how thankful they were, and that if other countries that have helped them were ever in the same situation, there'd be Ukrainians queuing up to go and help them back. It was quite a moving experience. And obviously I didn't take a load of photos or video footage of the cemetery. That didn't feel right. But just this one, just to show you the size of it, all the graves there, and the other sad thing, the space reserved for future graves, because this is not a war that's going to end anytime soon. But the work that we've done, it doesn't end with the one convoy. I am dying to go back. I am dying to help again and take more vehicles and raise more money to keep this going. If you guys want to get involved, maybe take your own convoys, do your own fundraisers, then you can check out the Driving Ukraine website. They are always looking for volunteers to help out in any way. And when I say the job isn't done, I was only back in the UK a few days when we got the call from a fantastic gentleman who lives nearby, who's bought and donated 2 ex-NHS ambulances that he's picked up, and looking for some drivers to take them down to Oxford. Well, me and Steve, we've done stuff with Driving Ukraine before. We live locally. We stood up and we took them there just the other day. So they're now getting serviced, and they're going to be heading out to Ukraine, hopefully later this month, where they're going to be very gratefully received, and they will be a big addition to saving lives out there. So that was my experience with Driving Ukraine and taking the convoy out there. I think it was great. We've made some great friends that I'm sure we'll stay in touch with for life. And I'm looking forward to help again because, as I say, the job's not done. We've done something useful and appreciated, but I really feel like I want to do some more. And maybe you feel like you'd like to get involved too. If so, head over to drivingukraine.org, sign up there. They'll send you all the information about what to do, how to raise money, how to get involved. And maybe you could even find a bunch of colleagues or friends or family and go over in your own convoy with Driving Ukraine's help. That would be amazing. Anyway, check out the website if you'd like to help out, and maybe I'll see you on the next convoy.